Course, I dream. I'm running through endless hallways. All kinds of hallways, including one that looks like a space station and another that looks like a medieval castle. In each one, I run into the locked doors. Because of this, I can only move through the halls, never knowing what's behind those doors. Eventually, I wake up, but my dead limbs and heavy head tell me I'm not awake. Not fully. I brace myself and shut my eyes again. My heart thumps and stomach churns with the disappointment of knowing I'm still in that fucking bedroom. The one that tells me I'm still stuck in a nightmare that's beyond the one I'm currently in. I feel things move about the room, hear things that sound like whining, crying, and screaming. Then I hear something in the ceiling moving above me. It has many legs like a spider that weighs hundreds of pounds. And then I'm free. I hold still as the gradual release of the paralysis seeps through my muscles and joints. At this point, I feel like I've mostly learned how to cope with the nightmares. That thought would make me happy if I wasn't so crushed that I'm still in this actual nightmare. And welcome back to the next episode of Echo, my... Should I call y'all my homos? I don't know. Point being that we are on Sunday in Carl's route, and unless they're gonna pull out the World Ends with You or on me where there's Dawn of the New Day, I believe this should be the last day. This has been a wild ride so far, and we're stuck inside some weird... Like, it's weird, because usually when you would have non-Euclidean spaces like this, they're usually described as twisting and turning, but this one actually seems very stable. It feels very stable in that there's a set number of ways to go, and the only, major illogical thing about it is the kitchen in the center, which kind of makes me wonder if that's the focal point of all the issues, but obviously the noose door and the log cabin door are important. Immediately anxiety rises back up in my chest as I realize how fucked up this actually is. How much sense this doesn't actually make. As far as I can tell, we've been drugged, somehow, and moved to this underground hellhole as an experiment of some kind. Someone in Echo had to have done this. One of the crazy old people. Maybe Duke. He probably built this underground maze just to watch us lose our minds and probably get off to it at the same time. I grip the bed sheets and grit my teeth, grimacing at the ceiling as I try not to cry. That had to be it. This isn't some kind of supernatural alternate dimension. This is real, and someone's fucking with us. We're probably being watched by cameras that are set up in the corners and peepholes right now. That idea sends a shiver down my spine, and I glance to my left, scanning the wall for any inconsistencies. We need to get out of here, as soon as we can, and the sooner we start moving, the better. I hear a small whining grunt to my left, and at that moment, I look over only to find that Carl isn't in the bed next to me. I stare for a moment at the tangled mess of sheets on his side of the bed, trailing off the side. Carl? Another grunt. Then I hear Carl, at least I think it's Carl. This is a replay. This is a replay. I don't think this skidded past me. This is a replay of a previous scene. I think it was actually like the first... Yeah, it was the scene where Carl was sleepwalking. His voice is deep, raspy, and it sounds like he's trying on some sort of weird accent that I've never heard him use. My name... Soiled. Slowly I sit up, and that's when I see something white sitting next to the bed. Oh! To all my Night Rain fans out there, make your choice. Jesus! I jump and slide back on my ass away from it, almost falling off the other side of the bed. Staring at it a few seconds longer allows me to make out the clear shape of horns under a bedsheet. Carl is sitting next to the bed while with a white sheet over his head, swaying back and forth gently. What the fuck, Carl? I shout whisper to him, my earlier exclamations sounding way too loud in this quiet room. I look over at Raven, but somehow he's still curled up on the sofa, fast asleep. Returning my attention to Carl, I jump again as I see that he's staring straight at me. Or would be staring at me if there wasn't a sheet in the way. Carl, what are you doing? This isn't fucking funny at all. I push myself off the bed, leaning against the wall to take the weight off my swollen ankle, now to twice its original size, as I stand in front of Carl. I reach out to take the sheet off of his head, but I hesitate. The horns. They look bigger than they should be. And the voice is so different. Dining love. Carl? Carl? You're scaring the shit out of me. My voice is weak and it cracks at the end as I lose my nerve. Had this place been getting to Carl more than he'd been letting on? But then, maybe he was just sleepwalking. I remember him doing that when he slept over at my house years ago. I reach out again, more slowly this time, but again I hesitate. I can't shake the feeling that if I pull it off, it won't be Carl. Suddenly, the horned head shakes back and forth violently, the grunting reaching a fever pitch. Shocked, I fall back on my rear, yelping as my ankle is jolted. I lean back on my hands, watching with wide eyes. The shaking is so wild, the white sheet starts to slip off of the head as if whatever is underneath the sheet is trying to shake it off. I brace myself, watching as the sheet slides slowly from the horns to reveal Carl. Of course it's Carl. He stares back at me with bleary eyes like he's just woken up. I swallow hard. Carl? Carl, what are you doing? He's silent for a moment, then finally speaks. I know what to do. Where are we supposed to be looking? Anywhere, but I know it's here. I lean uselessly against the dining room table again, watching them. I'm biting my lip, trying not to lose my cool, trying to absorb everything Carl had just told me. You said James Hendricks himself came to you in your dream, right? Carl huffs but doesn't look at me. Yup. And he told you that you had to find something. Carl gets down on his hands and knees and looks under the stove. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what happened. I frown. You know, I had a dream about a giant spider crawling through the ceiling, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be searching around for a spider in the ceiling. No, this was different. I've never had a dream like that before. He stands back up and looks right at me. It felt like he was actually in my brain, telling me. I look back at him for a while, not wanting to tell him he's going crazy, just like I am. Well, it's kind of vague to just tell you that you need to find something, isn't it? He told me other stuff. Carl moves closer to me, starting to look through the various decorum of the dining room. Like what? Carl lifts up a vase, then looks inside. Said this place is chaos, a leftover memory from the whole old house. That still doesn't really make any sense. And he organized it for us into separate sections to help us figure this out and clear his name so we can get out of here. How is clearing James Hendrick's name going to end this? I throw my hands out to the air, gesturing at everything that this is. Carl bends down to look under the dining room table, then stands up right in front of me. What else do we have to go off on? Hey, I found something weird! We both look over at Raven, who holds up a corkscrew. Carl turns back to me, ignoring the husky. Oh, don't disrespect him like that. That is how a husky will come up behind you and bite you in the butt. So, hang on, let me get this straight. So, I feel like they just spelled out the plot for us. This is the part in the horror movie where they spell out the plot. So, Chase is doing his thing, and because we went with Carl, this caused us to start to fiddle with the basement and all the things that go on there. Now, because we were fiddling with the basement and all the artifacts there, progressively more of James Hendrick's and Carl's, family history got revealed. So because of that, the literal, ghosts and memories of the house itself were developing and forming into whatever this odd space is. He organized the whole house into this actual physical space. Now, from what I remember of the earlier things, because it's been a couple weeks since I edited, I say a couple weeks, it's been a week or two since I edited those videos. So, from what I remember, he ended up being accused of sodomy with John Begay. I'm just not acknowledging that joke, by the way. Moving on. So he was accused of sodomy and basically was allowed to be run out of town rather than just hung. Because, money. It's the same old joke of how does... what happens when you get caught with an illegal drug? You get arrested and sent to jail. What happens when a celebrity gets caught with an illegal drug? They get a media carousel and sympathy and thoughts and prayers from the mass public at large, and they get to go to rehab. So, money makes the world go round. Money colors society's reaction to you. Never forget that. As unfortunate as it is. But my point is that something happened that he has a sullied name. And now we have to find out the real story of what happened, I guess? This is weird. Also, the bright side I feel like of me being a little sick is that I can do a better Carl voice. Let me know. Maybe I'll... I don't know, I'll lick a doorknob or something if I need to do Carl again. That's a joke, that's a joke. If we find it, that locked door will open and we'll be able to get out. If he's here, why doesn't he just show himself and do this for us? He said he's weak, and that there are other forces in this house that have more control than he does. He can only do so much. I gape at him. Do you hear yourself right now? Carl frowns, then moves past me. What does his name even need to be cleared of? I feel tears starting to sting my eyes again, because now I think I'm the only one here who realizes how crazy this all is. Don't you guys get what's actually going on here? Raven stops rustling through the drawers and looks up at me. You okay, Chase? No, because someone fucking kidnapped us and put us in this crazy maze dungeon, and we should be trying to figure out how we can get out. It's quiet for a moment as Raven and Carl exchange glances. It's okay, Chase. We're gonna get out of here. I lean my head back in despair, about to cover up my face with my hands when something catches my eye. In the chandelier, a small, white envelope is wedged between the glass ornaments. I squint to make sure it's not my watering eyes creating an illusion. Yes, there's definitely an envelope up there. Diamond patterns from the crystal cast across its surface. Guys? Carl ignores me as he continues to shuffle through things on the counter behind us. Carl, I found something. I point straight up at the chandelier above me. Carl stops, then finally, and moves next to me, looking up. Is that a letter? Looks like it. Do you think is that what you're looking for? Carl gets up on the table, wobbling slightly as he reaches up to pull the envelope from the crystals. With a heavy thump, the door's back. Then, with a heavy thump, he drops back down to the floor. I'm still skeptical of everything right now, but as I get a closer look at the letter, I think I start to recognize it. That kind of looks like the same envelopes your mom collected. Carl picks up the envelope, turning it over. Kind of. It just says John on the front. Carl opens the flap to empty out the contents. Isn't that the guy that... Oh, whoa! The letter lights up, and what sounds like a match being struck accompanies the flash. Carl gasps and drops the letter, shaking his hands. It's on fire! Shit, put it out. I stupidly wonder if the lights had somehow set the letter on fire as Carl starts trying to smother the letter within his sleeve. At that moment, a great moaning sound shakes the walls, almost knocking me off my feet and sending plates crashing to the floor. I cling to the table as the plates fall from the counter and the chandelier swings above us. The deep groaning coalesces into a scream that makes me clap my hands over my ears. Carl is staring at the ceiling, his eyes wide, when we hear another hissing sound. I jerk my head back to look in time to see a gush of angry black smoke burst from the stove, another scream accompanying it. It rushes straight towards us, and for just a moment I see the outline of what looks like a mouth and eyes in the smoke before it engulfs me. My senses are completely smothered. It feels like something is slamming up against my chest, and all air is gone to be replaced by the unbreathable unbreathable smoke. Its consistency is like water filling my ears and eyes. I scream into the emptiness, but I can't hear myself over the cacophony that sounds like rushing water mixed with muffled screams and explosions. I fall to my knees, then curl up on the ground into a ball, just praying that the savage thing killing me would stop. Just as I'm starting to give in, something grabs the scruff of my neck hard and yanks me up violently, my teeth clacking together. The fingers are unmistakably hooved. You fucking idiot. Then I'm shoved forward and find myself lying flat against the dining room table. Completely blind, I feel around before finding the letter. I clumsily rip the envelope part, grabbing the letter inside. Then, like a massive vacuum being turned on, the smoke is sucked out of the room, along with the horrible screaming and roaring. In an instant, the room is quiet again. I slump back to the floor, gasping for breath. Carl is right next to me, curled up in the same position as I was. Raven is whimpering, his face in his hands, and his rear in the air. Carl coughs a few times, wheezing in air, before he looks at me and the envelope clutched in my hands. What the hell just happened? Are you okay? I can't respond. I lean back against one of the chairs tucked under the table for a moment, gathering my wits. Carl? Yeah? If that James guy tells you to do anything else, just tell me, and we'll do it. Carl breathes heavily in response. Raven, you okay? Raven sits a few feet in front of us on his knees, tongue hanging out as he gasps. Good. You know, that's what I saw yesterday. Yeah, I gathered that. I give a short, humorless laugh. That, and also that I'm done asking questions. I just want to get out of here. After a few minutes of catching our breaths, I turn my attention back to the letter. Somehow it's completely undamaged, despite catching on fire. It feels crisp and new, and the ink is almost fresh. It definitely looks like it came from one of the bins in the crawl space. But if that were the case, then there's no way it could be in the great condition it's in. The letter itself is short, and I start to read it aloud. My dearest John, the militia grows more agitated by the hour, and I fear that they will demand a search of this mansion. If that does indeed occur, I will do everything in my utmost power to hold them off. I look over at Carl, wondering if he just wanted to read the letter instead, but he's looking right at me. They will never find the room I've left you in. Do not fear. Carl moves closer to me, his hands reaching out to grab my shoulder. Carl? But if they so much as try to lay a finger on your head, it will be the last thing they ever do. Before I can even move, Carl leans in and kisses me. I'm just able to get a glimpse of Raven's shocked face before I'm practically smothered by Carl's soft, warm nose and lips. I freeze, my shoulders tensing. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, it's just that the kiss was so unwarranted. I'm not sure how long it lasts, but I never make a move to stop it. When Carl does finally pull back, it's awkward, and he's looking just as confused as I am. Raven sits there, openly staring at us. Carl lowers his ears, his nose growing pink. Sorry. I don't know why I just did that. I clear my throat. Don't worry about it. This place is doing weird things to me too. Aw, that's so cute. Raven, could you help me up? I mostly ask him so he won't dwell on what just happened. Carl clears his throat. Well, I think the door's open now. Let's go check. We make our way down the hall, Raven just behind us. I lean in closer to Carl's ear so the husky can't hear. So, was that really you, or did great whatever take control again? I don't know. I think I was still in control. Just felt like the right thing to do, you know? It looked like you already knew what the letter said. Yeah. I wait for him to go on, but he doesn't. Well, what does he need his name cleared for anyway? Being gay? I don't think people care about that stuff anymore. No, we already sort of knew that. Besides, that was basically a love letter. So, what is it that he thinks has ruined his legacy? Carl thinks. I guess the idea that he just allowed his lover to die? I think people believe that he sort of just left John to die. I didn't really try to save him. Huh. This whole mess seems like a pretty roundabout way to go about that, in my opinion, but like I said earlier, I am done asking questions. Well, it was kind of nice. The kiss, I mean. Carl looks back at me with one green eye. Yeah? I smile a little. I guess the fact that something had been growing between us since the beginning of the week is pretty undeniable. And now we're here in this crazy alternate dimension with smoke monsters. So, well, fuck it, I guess. I lean forward and kiss his big, soft cheek. Yeah. Carl grins and is about to say something when I catch movement out of the corner of my eye. Immediately afterwards, I hear a dull thump and Carl grunts, his eyes bulging before he crumples, sending me to the floor with him. Oh my god! I yelp as my ankle bangs against the floor, and I roll onto my back, teeth gritting, straining to reach down to hold my foot. Whatever just hit us is standing over me now. I raise a hand feebly to hold off the next blow. When it doesn't come, I lower it slowly and look up. Jenna? Jenna? Jenna stands there stoically, holding what looks like a small wooden stool. Jenna? How did you get here? Jenna slowly sets the stool down, slowly seeming to recognize me. I lean forward to feel my ankle, the pain radiating from it in hot pulses. Chase? Are you okay? What happened to your leg? I sprained it. Hey Jenna, it's been a while. I look over at Carl, who's still curled up on his side, his arms wrapped around himself. Carl, are you okay? Then to Jenna, did you hit him? Jenna walks past Carl and crouches down next to my leg. This looks really bad. Yeah, Carl, are you okay? Carl grunts and turns over to face us, a hand on his chest. Jenna, what the fuck was that? Jenna looks at my ankle a while longer before standing up and looking around. When it doesn't look like she's going to answer, Carl sits up. How did you find us here? Raven perks up. Yeah, is there a way out? Jenna finally looks down at Carl, and I note the complete lack of concern in her eyes. I came to your house looking for TJ and ended up going into the basement. She looks down at the hall again. And I ended up here, somehow. I blacked out before I did, so I don't know how to get out. Carl finally stands up, wearily eyeing the stool held loosely in Jenna's hand before bending down to help me back up. Your leg okay? He grunts into my ear as he slides my arm over his shoulder and slowly pulls me back onto his back. Mostly. I think I kind of twisted it up again. Carl grunts again and turns back to Jenna, now with me on his back. Well, that's pretty fucked up, just to blindly swing at someone around the corner. No, what's fucked up is walking in a place you have no memory of going to. Jenna's sharp muzzle points right at Carl, glaring. Carl stutters for a second, clearly not expecting to have Jenna snap back at him. Hey, this isn't my fault. This isn't my fault. We have no idea where we're at either. Why are you guys fighting? Raven looks innocently between the two of them, his ears perked. It's a good question, and I watch Jenna closely from over Carl's shoulder. She just glares at Carl, arms folded. Did she blame him for this somehow? After a few seconds of awkward silence, Carl speaks up. Well, you hit me for one. I don't know why you are mad at me. Jenna looks back at Carl, and I see the tenseness in her shoulders slowly loosen. I'm sorry. I'm just a little uptight after waking up here. Hey, you're taking it better than us. Chase was freaking out for hours. I give Raven a side glance. Oh, the return of the bombastic side eye. I'm gonna have to figure out if there's like otter side eye pictures out there. So I don't know how far I am from the end. So if this ends up going into another part before I finish up, then basically I want to go ahead and give another shout out to another big ol' husky love. Another big ol' husky love to my fans. I don't even know. There's so many of you at this point. I realize and I recognize now that when they say that you can only sustainably keep a relationship with up to 50 people at a time, you don't realize how big that number actually is. And that's to not even begin to talk about how that's just 50, like, deeply intimate relationships with people. There's more beyond that. There's more other connections that are beyond that, and I really do appreciate you all, and I love you all, and every day that I get to spend talking to every one of you, every day I get to make something new on this channel and just make something new in general for people to look at, to smile, to laugh at. It's a day well spent. So, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, guys.